So here's what it looks like from the front. Just got 3 1/2-inch diameter bolts, about 4.5 inches long. Pair of 2x6s that are all screwed together really well. That's more than adequate to keep this as extremely solid. Definitely more than enough to hold up the lawnmower. So that's the setup. All right, here we go. Take 1, Polish invention. Cutting brush around the pond. All right, so here's my task. The lawnmower is running, and we just want to knock down all that brush along the side. So we'll see how it goes. Well, it seems to be working pretty good. This is made for us that have a bad back. Can't use a weed whacker, but yeah, let's see if we can just take this little by little. Yeah, looks like it does a pretty good job. The idea is I want to leave the cattails but I want to get rid of the willows and things like that. Let's see if we can see how it works on this one. I'll be darned. Doing pretty good. I'll go ahead and lower it a little bit. Trying to get a feel for how much of a bite I can take before I stall the engine. Back to work and we'll see how the rest of the job goes. Alright, so here's the finished product of the first prototype. I know I want to make a few changes to it, but you know what? For what it is, it did a pretty darn good job. I'm really impressed. Now it shows me where I need to add some more dirt, where it's settled, cover up some of the rocks that we added in here to keep the muskrats out. And now I'll be able to safely come around with a 0 turn and finish mowing around the pond. The rest of it hasn't grown up around the sides. It was only this west side that needed it, but hey, you know, for a couple hours work, it worked pretty good, surprisingly. All I do to start it is and then go driving around. Alright, that's all we got. Alright, I decided to add this one last video clip to show kind of the finished product. I brought in some more dirt here. It's just crappy clay and got some rocks in it. It'll be perfect to fill in this low area. This used to be a beach. This was all dug down. I had sand and this tapered down. Kids used to love it. But now I went ahead and brought in dirt, leveled it, and pretty soon we'll have nice cattails growing all around the perimeter. There's actually tons and tons of busted up concrete and rocks underneath the shoreline there to keep the muskrats out. But as you can see, it turned out not too bad. A little lawnmower contraption worked really good. Over there I saved some cattail areas. You can kind of see the over there's a little peninsula that sticks out. So those are some cattails. I still need to bring in some dirt over there on the north side. You can see where the dirt has settled, exposing some of the rocks and concrete, stuff like that. So that'll be no big deal for the New Holland. One other thing that I wanted to mention was, after doing this, the A-frame that I built around the lawnmower kind of allowed it to rock back and forth. I'm going to actually stiffen it up. I'm going to make it so that it can't rock back and forth. And I'm also going to take off the rear guard flapper, that rubber flapper on the rear, and that'll allow me to go forwards and backwards without it really hanging up. It'll make it go a lot easier. I also learned one thing. It's actually a lot easier to just drop the lawnmower slowly onto the brush rather than mowing along it, unless it's pretty short. But for the taller weeds and everything that there were, it was a lot easier, I found, to just come in at an angle and just gently drop the lawnmower onto the tall grass and willow sprouts and everything, and I was able to take it right down to almost water level. And that really was the fastest way. I was able to, at here, I was going along the shoreline, and that was actually taking a little while to do. But over here and everything else, I found just by dropping it down, it seemed to work the best. So again, it only took a couple of hours to make the contraption, but it really is nice and safe now for me to drive around. I'll come around once this dirt that I've put in settles. I'll be coming around with the rear blade and leveling that out, and pretty soon there'll be just wild grass and everything growing. That's all this is. It used to be a lawn. It used to have grass. Now it's pretty much over there where we had about 40 loads. Hello. There we go. That's about 40 loads of clay and fill that we had brought in. I just decided to turn it into a mound and stockpile the dirt in case we ever needed it. So that's not grass, that's just wild weeds and everything. All right, so that's a wrap. Like I said, we'll be making some modifications to the A-frame, stiffen it up so it can't rock back and forth, and I'll be taking off that rear rubber guard, the safety guard, and I think it'll go a lot better.